People often read the Mahabharata as just ancient mythology. But if you look closer, it's actually packed with calculated, high-stakes undercover missions. Take the infiltration of Magadha, for instance. It is literally a masterclass in psychological warfare and strategic rule-breaking. So let's just dive right into this explainer and see how it all unfolded.
To really grasp the massive scale of this operation, we first need to look at the target through the eyes of Krishna, right as he's briefing his companion Arjuna. He describes this city standing in absolute beauty, stocked with unending resources and totally free from calamity. We aren't talking about some vulnerable little outpost here. This is a stronghold at the absolute peak of its power.
Section 1. The impregnable target.
Now, Girivraja isn't just shielded by high walls. The defenses here are deep. It's ringed by 5 massive connected hills covered in cool forests. And on top of that, it's spiritually fortified. It boasts the fierce protection of legendary Nagas, these powerful serpent beings known to persecute all enemies, and the divine favor of figures like Manu, ensuring the city literally never suffers from a drought.
And ruling over this incredibly wealthy, fully stocked, and magically protected city is King Jarasandha. He's described as a monarch ever bent on seeking the fruition of his purposes. Basically, he's relentless, he's powerful, and he is deeply, deeply proud. And it's exactly this pride that our heavily outnumbered heroes intend to crush today.
Section 2. A deliberate breach.
So how do they get in?
Well, instead of using the crowded public city gates to enter diplomatically like normal people, Krishna, Bhima, and Arjuna do something completely shocking. Using only their bare arms, they smash their way right through the heart of the worshipped Chaityaka peak, a sacred mountain honored by the citizens. And they don't even stop there. They completely shattered the sacred drums placed there by the king's ancestor.
Get this, these weren't just any ordinary drums. They were crafted from the hide of a defeated cannibal monster named Rishava. Once struck, the resonant sound lasted for 1 full month. 1 month! Imagine that ringing in your ears for 30 days. Shattering them was an act of profound, unmistakable defiance. Because you see, destroying this beloved peak wasn't mindless vandalism. By doing this, they effectively seemed to place their feet upon the head of their foe. It was a highly calculated psychological first strike. The whole goal was to signal ultimate disrespect and draw out the king's fury before they ever even set eyes on him.
Section 3. The flawed disguise.
Okay, so after causing all this chaos, they adopt a cover story. They disguise themselves as Snataka Brahmanas, learned peaceful ascetics. Tactically, this is brilliant. Kings in this era are bound by strict sacred duty to host and respect these holy men without question, giving the trio an instant VIP pass to the king's inner sanctum.
But here is the really funny part. Their execution of this disguise is terrible. I mean, they claim to be peaceful ascetics, yet they walk into town with bare arms, completely ready for combat. Instead of humbly begging, they aggressively snatch garlands from local flower vendors. And they swagger down the public roads wearing brightly colored robes and flashy earrings, looking way more like predators eyeing their prey than quiet priests.
You can just imagine the citizens completely bewildered by this sight, because these supposedly peaceful ascetics have massive tree trunk necks and chests as wide as elephants. Their insanely muscular arms covered in sandal paste give their true warrior nature away instantly. It's a ridiculously bold, almost arrogant disguise.
Moving to Section 4, the Midnight Interrogation.
So they proudly approach Jarasandha, and the king does his duty. He receives them with traditional offerings of water, honey, and gifts of cattle. But the guests, they flat out refuse to speak. Krishna masterfully steps in and controls the pacing here. He claims his companions are under a strict vow of silence, telling the king they will only speak with him after midnight.
And here is the absolute genius of the plan. They are literally weaponizing the king's own psychology against him. Jarasandha is world-renowned for one very specific vow. Whenever a Snataka Brahmana arrives at his city, even in the dead of night, he will immediately grant them an audience. By setting this midnight deadline, Krishna ensures the king will be forced to meet them all alone in his private chambers.
Section 5. Rules of the Enemy.
So midnight strikes and Jarasandha honors his vow. But the king is no fool. He isn't buying the act for a second. He firmly confronts them, noting that true Brahmanas carry energy in their speech and they only wear flowers when they're in season.
Instead, he points right at the obvious Kshatriya, or warrior, energy in their muscular arms. He even calls out the literal scars from bowstrings on their hands.
The tension in the room is off the charts right now. Jarasandha just demands the truth. He's like, if you are peaceful men, why did you smash the sacred Chaityaka peak? Why did you use an improper gate without any fear of royal wrath? And why won't you accept my worship? He looks them dead in the eye and asks, what is your motive for coming to me?
That's when Krishna finally drops the act. In a very calm, grave voice, he reveals that warriors are actually also permitted to take this vow. But, he explains, a warrior's energy isn't found in audacious speech. The Creator planted it firmly in their arms. He's essentially telling the king, if you really want to see our true energy, you're going to behold it tonight. Krishna then lays down this incredible ancient rule of warfare. It's like a code. He explains that when you visit a friend's abode, you enter through the right gate. But when you visit an enemy's abode, you enter through a wrong gate. So, by smashing through that sacred mountain peak, instead of just using the front doors, they were formally, undeniably declaring Jarasandha an enemy.
And by admitting they used the enemy's entrance, Krishna makes it crystal clear. We cannot accept your honey, your water, or your gifts. This is not a diplomatic visit, it is a highly targeted assassination mission. The psychological infiltration is completely finished, and the stage for brutal physical combat is officially set.
Which leaves us with a truly fascinating final thought to take away from this explainer today. How much of ancient warfare was actually won not by the swinging of swords, but by masterfully exploiting the vows, the pride, and the deep-seated psychology of the enemy before the battle even began. It's definitely something to think about the next time you read what seems like a simple myth, right?